And Michael, you are a very insightful guy, and you notice a lot of things that other people don't. But what I've been saying about this Russiagate, and is that it doesn't take, as Greg Palast said on our show, it doesn't take a great investigative journalist. I'm not a great investigative journalist. I'm not even a good one. It doesn't take an investigative journalist to look at this story and see it for what it is. This was bullshit from day one. This was a hoax. It was printed. It was printed in the book Shattered that Robbie Mook and John Podesta came up with this whole thing, and everybody ignored that. I was dismissed. My reporting on that was dismissed, and it hasn't been championed. That's for sure. Cenk Uygur, although, the main show, he says he didn't get it, whatever he said. But Anna Kasparian has admitted that they got it wrong and pushed this narrative. And now Cenk is pushing a different Russian conspiracy of Trump's, and it's a different one. But to his credit, you turn on NBC or MSNBC or CNN, there's no show on there devoted to debunking Russiagate. So Cenk Uygur on his own platform let me do a show where I debunked it. It would be, and so I guess that's all you could ask for. And now you know how this usually goes, Michael. Nobody likes someone. You're not being hired. Your phone's not ringing, even though you've been doing great journalism on this and you got this story right. Any other story that you got right like this, your phone would be ringing off the hook. But nobody wants a guy around a newsroom that reminds them that they got something wrong, right?
Yeah, and I should also say, to Cenk's credit, I did have the relative autonomy when I was at the Young Turks to say and do, essentially what I wanted, and my beliefs about this issue were well known. So it's not as if he tried to impose any restrictions on me ever.
Right.
At the same time, he does seem as though he's whitewashing history when people were circulating a clip that I forgot about from 2017 when he was on some panel discussion and he addressed me by name.
I remember that.
Michael Tracey's got the blinders on. He's not, he's ignoring reality. Trump's going to be marched out of the White House in handcuffs. And there was a tweet that somebody just sent me from last summer, 2018, when Cenk said, yes, there was collusion. So now he's trying to concoct this kind of post hoc rationalization where he was never on board with collusion when it just doesn't fly. I mean, we have the evidence. I just wish he would admit fault and then move on. But they're just digging in even further. And it's just, I don't know. It's sad.
It would seem to, again, he could claim victory and just point to our show. And which actually is a victory. It's no doubt about it. It's not spin. He actually did something no one else did in media. He gave a show, a platform that debunked the Russiagate narrative. And again, it's amazing that I could debunk it and you could debunk it and Kyle Kalinske could debunk it and guys like Tim Black and Caitlin Johnston and Ben Norton and Max Blumenthal and Aaron Matei. And I think that's everybody. Because
Glenn, let's not forget Glenn.
I'm sorry, of course, Glenn Greenwald. I always leave him out because he's already such an exalted boy.
Daddy Greenwald. Day in and day out, week in and week out, we engage with the substance of this narrative, and it was twisted as Trump apologia.
Yes.
When what it turns out is that the real Trump apologists, the real Trump quote defenders. I can't tell you how many hundreds of thousands of times I've been accused of being a Trump defender for 3 years. When it turns out that people like David Corn, Cenk, I'm sorry to say, others, no, you were the Trump defenders. You were the Trump apologists. You gave Trump an ultimate vindication.
Yes.
Right now, he's going to use as a political weapon against Democrats every single 2020 Democratic candidate except Tulsi Gabbard, who I interviewed in New Hampshire, as you know, Jimmy. We did an extended interview in part about how she ended up being the one Democratic candidate, including Bernie. Again, sorry to say, he indulged in it as well. Tulsi was the one candidate who didn't engage in this bullshit and suggest that Trump was Putin's puppet, that he was like in hoc to a foreign power, because it was not ever evidence-based, it was emotion-based. So now Trump is in a position where he has extraordinary political leverage over the entire field of candidates running against him.
Yes.
Because they've been pushing a narrative that's now been totally discredited and revealed as a farce. So you who push this, you are the Trump defenders. I was saying we need a rational and evidence-based opposition to Trump, not an opposition that's mired in this delusional conspiratorial fantasy. So you were Trump's best friends all along. You're the apologists. You're the defenders. You should apologize.
Michael, very well said. That's exactly right. And I tried to explain it to them that way too. Like, if I told you that you're actually propping Trump up and helping him in 2020, would it get you to stop this? No. No, it won't. So here, if you...
It's a real shame because we need a vibrant journalism industry in this country. We need independent reporters and analysts. And I just started a Patreon and a podcast and my own independent thing recently. I'm not soliciting contributions. People can give if they want. That's great. I'm just saying that in principle, we need people who have independence of mind in this country or else we're screwed. And Trump Russia is a perfect, you couldn't get a more vivid example of that than Trump Russia. So for all these journalists and all these careerist little freaks to have perpetrated the gigantic fraud that they did, and now they're trying to run away from it after 72 hours or however long it's been. No, you're not getting away with it. I don't know if I can personally hold them all accountable. I probably can't, but I'm going to damn sure try because I couldn't live with myself if I didn't. That's how enormous a disservice I really genuinely feel they did.
But that doesn't mean that Trump didn't do a deal with Russia. And you calling that hyperventilating is bullshit. It's totally bullshit. So, okay, fine. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I am so fucking positive that I'm right. As usual, well, let time decide, man. I told you ahead of time, and then I'm proven right, 98% of the time? He fucking did a deal with the Russians, like fucking money. You give me money, I give you this. That's the kind of deal he did with the Russians.
You have yourself at 98%?
I got it about 98.
Now, mind you, that's a poll of 1.
Yeah, that's right. I want a forensic analysis of that poll.
Look, he's got the money at Deutsche Bank, the same account the Russians have. The Russians buy his houses at overinflated prices. Dumbass Eric Trump says, yeah, all the money for the golf courses came from the Russians. The Russian Alpha Bank is connecting to Trump's server in the middle of Pennsylvania. They're all fucking coincidences. Don't hyperventilate. Are you look? The people saying it, I know them, and they're not stupid. They're really, really smart, but they got blinders on. Here, I'll tell you, like one of them, Michael Tracey. I love the guy. I hired him, right? Super smart guy, but he's like this on Russia. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. You can show me 1,000 pieces of evidence, and I'll go, oh no, hyperventilating. Okay, dude. All right, man. Fine, we'll show you the fucking check one day, okay? And on the way, when Trump is being let out in handcuffs, then you can hyperventilate.
I don't know how tough.
Yeah. The Republicans will pull away from him. They will, because once the evidence is out, what are they going to be like? Oh no, I support the president's ability to make a couple $100 million for himself by betraying the country. No problem. They can't fucking say that. Of course they're going to back away. And then when they cut Trump and he resigns, right? Their base is going to be super pissed.
That's right.
And in 2018, they are going to get pulverized.